Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Detour Live. I'm your host, Dan Jones, as always, joined by four-time national road champion, Johnny Trevorrow. Johnny, geez, we keep getting some big names. I'm just waiting for it to drop off. I reckon, by the end of the week, we'll be struggling to pluck out the local guy that's riding C-grade crits. Surely the luck's got to turn.
Let's go. We've got Eddie Merckx in a few days, so that'll be pretty good. But go for it, mate.
Well, we've got a very special guest. He ran second at the Giro. It's, of course, Jai Hindley. Jai, welcome to the Detour, mate. Thanks for joining us. You've had a few days for what you've achieved to sink in. How are you feeling?
Oh, yeah. Oh, first of all, fellas, thanks for having me. But, it's been a wild ride, eh? It's still a bit surreal, actually. And yeah, I think it's going to take a while to sink in, but it's just crazy thinking back. Still just doesn't feel like reality, So yeah,
you've got I see you got pink streamers up behind you. Is that from a 2-day bender?
No, my girlfriend put them up. Yeah, pretty funny, but yeah.
I was just going to say, Jai, congratulations, mate. It was just a wonderful 3 weeks, and you kept us up every night, and you kept all of Australia really right on the tips of their seats. It's been fantastic. Fantastic for everyone in this COVID time. And finally, Melbourne's out of lockdown as of yesterday. So they're all in pubs, and they're very happy at the moment. And they're all in pubs celebrating Jai Hindley as we speak.
Yeah.
But let's go back a bit to the start of the Giro down in Sicily. When did it start to occur to you that you had the form to be right up there in this bike race?
It's hard to say because I knew we'd done a hell of a lot of work like coming into it, like I think we did like a 3-week altitude camp. We came down for some racing, and then after that racing we went straight back up to altitude for another 3-week camp. So we spent like 6 weeks at altitude, which is like pretty it's pretty heavy investment, when you're away from home for that long. But yeah, I mean, so I knew I was coming in with pretty good legs, but I didn't know exactly like how good they would be. And I think also I sort of rode into the tour a bit more. I wasn't feeling as good in the first week, as I was sort of towards that last week. But yeah, it was always like the team's plan for me to sort of like do my own GC result, but I think no one sort of expected me to be on the podium in Milan, so including me. So yeah.
Well, we started to believe it getting towards the end, but I'd just like to hear your slant on what it is that you youngsters of today riding your first Grand Tours and all these 21, 23, 24 like you are going so strong at the end of the 3-week Grand Tour. Normally, that's when the older fellas, that's when they step up, the Nibblies and that, who are so strong. But it's happening all over the place now, all the time. You young guys are really stepping up. What can you put it down to?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I was also talking to the Stanley Street social guys about this. It's just nuts, when you look at like what young guys are doing these days, guys that are like 21 to 23 years old are just like destroying the biggest races in the world on a regular basis. But yeah, I don't know exactly what it is. I think for me, I think it might be just those guys are just like they're like professional athletes before they're actual professional athletes. I feel like when they're in amateurs, they're doing like what pros are doing as amateurs, and then once they get to the pros, I think now you see it more often. Like guys are just, there's not like such a big jump anymore. I know, like, when I went from under 23 to pro, it was like this huge level step up. But now that just doesn't seem to exist. You know, guys are just coming out of amateurs and winning 3 stages of the tour and the tour. You know what I mean?
Well, you raise a good point, because we had Dave Sanders on the other day, and he said that you're a very laid-back character, but you are very professional, and you went a different path in your junior career. Like, you didn't necessarily go through the national program with WA. Take us through your early days and particularly the influence of your old man on your career.
Oh, yeah, it was massive. Well, I mean, he's the reason why I'm a cyclist, you know. So, yeah, he played like a huge part. Him and my mum. But yeah, so where to begin? I don't know. Sort of like got into it when I was like 6 years old, I think. So super young, and then we just went down to the velodrome in Perth. And yeah, started doing track riding, you know, like once a week, and then doing a bit of road riding and stuff, and then it all just like eventually escalated. You know, you start going to state championships, then you start going to national championships, and then it just evolves, you know, and you just progress. And I think a big sort of like turning point was going to Junior Worlds as an under 19 with Davo. And there were 4 guys in that team. There was James Thompson from Queensland, and Lucas Hamilton, and Michael Storer, and me. So it was like a pretty cool little team. And then we went to Junior Worlds. We sort of all got our heads kicked in at Junior Worlds, you know, like it was this crazy level difference from Australian racing. And then after Junior Worlds, I sort of didn't have anything lined up as like for under 23 the next year. And it's crazy how it all came about, but before Junior Worlds that year, me, my dad, and all these guys that my dad coached before I met up with the Aussie team, we were in Italy just like training, and we did a couple races, but it's super hard to do Italian races if you're not in an Italian team. And we sort of got like a few contacts and stuff. And then after that year, we were like emailing these people trying to get me a ride in Italy, because my old man was like a big, he was big. He knew that like to go pro, just racing in Australia, you have to win like everything to get noticed. You know what I mean? It's really hard. So he understood from like years like prior that if I wanted to go pro, then I'd have to go to Europe, like, period. And we actually used to go to Europe when I think I first went to Europe when I was under 17, you know, and then we pretty much went every year after that, because he knew that I really wanted to make it in the sport. And he, you know, my parents, they just did everything to help me do that, which is pretty crazy, you know, to just invest all that time and money and effort into some teenager's dream. You know, it's like pretty full on,
but as you said, I mean, you're battle hardened. Like the fact that you're over in Europe at such a young age, do you feel that has given you a little bit of an edge, particularly at the stage of your career, given that you've spent so much time acclimatizing over there? Because what people don't understand is for Aussies as a whole, it is a lot bigger sacrifice to pack up and relocate over to Europe than these guys from the UK that are whinging when they're over in, you know, places like Italy, going, "Oh, I'm missing home, eh?" It's like, yeah, mate, it's a 1 hour flight. Like, talk to the wall. Do you find that process is battle hardened you quite a lot?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, my dad was, he always told me, like, if you really want to do anything in the sport, you have to go to Europe. You can't you can't stay in Australia. So from like that early age, mentally, I'm just thinking like, yeah, I got to live in Europe, like simple as that. And also, yeah, going over there and racing as an under 17, you know, I was like coming from Perth where there's like 10 guys at the time. There was like 10 guys or something in my age group at a race. And then you go over to Belgium or Holland or something and there's like 200 guys lined up. And I'm just like, how the hell? You just have no idea. But every Australian that goes to Europe goes through that. But I just went through that at like an earlier age, which, yeah, for sure definitely gave me an advantage coming back to Australia and racing in Australia again with just like 10 guys or 50 guys on the start line as opposed to like 200. And I'm like, what's going on?
Well, you realize in that moment, this is their number one sport, particularly when you're in Belgium. It's like rolling up to a cricket field in Melbourne, you know. There's a big difference. Iffy?
Yeah, we had Matty Pointer on the other day, and he was, of course, singing your praises and telling us how big it was in Western Australia. And he told us a lot about your dad as well. But I first remember noticing you at the Jago Hurlson Tour back in 2017 when you ran second. And you very nearly stole it because Damien punctured on that stage into Beechworth. And you guys were up the road and flying. And I think a few of you weren't too happy that Chris Freeman and a few of the others sort of felt sorry for Damo and said, come on, let's ease it up. And you only got on a couple of K to go. You almost won that one too. I remember it was a fantastic race.
Oh, yeah. Just the Sun Tour, you know, it's such a nice race, man. I think I've done it like 3 times now. And just the race itself is like actually given me quite a bit, you know. The first time I did it, it was with I don't know if you guys remember Taki Gusto. It was through Tame became, but I did it with them, and yeah, I was riding all right that year, and then that sort of opened up doors for me to go into the national team as an under 23, and then the next time I did it was with the national team, and I ran second that year, and then that opened up doors, you know, for me to become a pro. And then I did it again this year and was lucky enough to win it. So
you weren't lucky enough to win it. That was a very fine victory, a great race between you and the other young bloke up Mount Buller. Yeah, fantastic.
I think what I'm getting at there is just like that race it just gives a lot to the Australian, to the young Australian cyclists, you know, like. It's such a good mix. It's not like Tour Down Under where it's just World Tour guys and you go there as the national team and it's just like brutal. It's like you have a few World Tour teams, you had a few Pro Conti teams, and you have like the Australian guys. And I think for the Australian guys, it's like such a good opportunity, you know, to like race some of the best guys in the world, and people really notice that race, you know, like that year I was second, that definitely got Sunweb's attention, and they actually contacted me after that race. So.
Great. Yeah. So Davo was talking about that following year when you joined the Mitchell and Scott, Conti squad, and you raced a lot all around the place, Italy and China. But you're specifically talking about that big tour that you won, where Stana and that were there, and you cleaned it up on the mountain stage and won overall. I can't even think of the name of the race of it, but tell us about that race, because Dave, I was very impressed with that.
Oh, the tour of Fuzhou, I think it was.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like the end of the year. It was just, it was just fun.
Is that this one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have a look at that motley crew.
There were just 2 Aussie guys in that team, just me and Sam Jenner, and the rest of the boys riding were like the Chinese part of the team.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting. Also, those guys didn't really speak any English, and you got like Dave on the radio, like
with his Aussie hat on, loving it.
Oh, that was some experience. It was good fun, but like,
And how'd you put up with Stinger, Ray Hunter? Because I've known Ray since he was just a youngster.
Yeah. Nah, top bloke, eh? Top bloke. Good guy to have on. Good guy to have on tour, actually, and yeah, just like Dave, just like an Aussie legend.
Yes,
so tell me about how you got the opportunity with Sunweb, because we spoke to Whitey after you ran second at the Giro, and I said to him, mate, how did you let Jai slip through the cracks here? Because look at the results now, you'd be kicking yourself. And he said, look, it was just a matter of like we didn't have enough spots, and there was one spot for I think it was what is it like the rookie list type thing in footy, and he said that went to Lucas. But tell us how the Sunweb opportunity come about, and then how did your mindset change to like, okay, I'm in the World Tour now, it's game on?
Yeah, well, it was like I said, it was after Sun Tour when their sort of like scout got in touch with me, and that was like, mate, like that was incredible, because I'd pretty much just been working my whole life for a phone call like that, and then to finally get a call off like a pro team to say like, yeah, like it wasn't even like we want to see like your numbers and stuff like that. It was a phone call like, we're really interested in you.
Yeah,
and that for me was just like, whoa, like, all right, it was pretty crazy. And then,
well, it would have been quite emotional given the journey that you'd been on and how hard you'd worked to get opportunities for every stage that you'd had.
Yeah, exactly. And I just also really appreciated it, because it wasn't like I had every team banging on the door. It was just like, it was Sunweb. They, they got in touch with, I think it was Graham Brown, actually. Someone from the team had his number, and then he sort of forwarded me a number, and then we just sort of went from there. But yeah, it was it was pretty nuts, eh? When you're speaking to a team and they're like telling you, like, yeah, here's what we see you doing in the future, and this is like the program you'd probably be running, and like, we have these coaches and they'll coach you, and you're just like, whoa, it's just mind blowing when you're an amateur. But yeah,
and it's got a very Australian feel to it, hasn't it? I mean, I've been very impressed with Sunweb this year, in right through the whole season, every race. You guys have been just taking it on. All of these great young kids coming through. It's just sensational. But it's a real Aussie flavour as well. And with Luke Roberts, who's going to come on.
Speaking of Luke Roberts, he's here now. Wow. How are you, Luke? We're just chewing Jai's ear off about the early days, and now it was perfect timing because we've got to the Sunweb part of it. Do you remember the conversations in the early days when it was about bringing Jai across to the team?
Yeah. Mostly, yeah, most of it.
Well, come on, spit it out, mate.
Come on, mate.
Yeah, I mean, we knew what sort of a talent he was, and could see, also his work ethic, how he fits in, what type of character he is, and see he could really develop well inside this team, and we're happy to take him on board, and he has worked well inside the team and worked well with this team, and we can see now the result of it.
So take us through the Giro. Obviously, you're working for Wilco, but the fact that you didn't drop off GC, was there always a plan like, okay, this could be a bit of a two-prong attack? And particularly early on in the race, when a couple of the big names were dropping out of contention, were you starting to think, hang on, anything could happen in this race?
Yeah, and we said from the beginning on, going back a couple of months already, we were in a high altitude training camp in Kutai in Austria with all the climbers from the Giro. I was there with the guys. I could see what sort of form they were in. I knew how well Jai was travelling and how well his progression was going leading up towards the Giro. So we spoke about it among the performance team. Decided to give Jai a go at having a crack at the GC, basically. We said from the beginning on that we would aim at the GC with Wilco and Jai. More as a development step for Jai. There was no expectation on what sort of a result he could do, although quietly I knew it could be a good one. But yeah, I mean, the way the team went through the race and how things unfolded, the result was probably much better than anyone could have expected then. But it was also well deserved and earned by the guys. So.
Hey, Jai, looking at the videos with Sunweb, it seems like there was a very calm demeanour in the bus. And listening to Luke talk then, how important was that for you to not feel this unnecessary pressure?
Yeah, it was like crucial, because just the pressure that you put on yourself, is pretty massive. Well, for me anyway, the team had discussed up front that I'd be going for GC, but in the bigger picture, I hadn't really done I'd had some pretty all right results here and there, but nothing like super consistent, and maybe not anything enough to really go for a Grand Tour GC. And for the team to have that belief that I could do it, and then also to have the guys on the team riding for you every day and busting their asses for you, it's a lot of added pressure, and I think just more pressure from myself really to perform. But at the same time, it wasn't like there wasn't any stress or anything from the team, and that was super nice. It was just a real relaxed atmosphere, but at the same time, we were ready to go to work every day.
Did some of the decisions, Luke, get hard throughout the race, particularly in the back end, where it's what do we do here in terms of, does Jai work for Wilco, or do we have to just let him go and protect his own position on GC?
Yeah, obviously there were some tough decisions to make, but there was nothing that we weren't prepared for. In each week leading up, or before each week of the race, I'd written a performance plan, spoken about it with our performance team. I knew multiple scenarios that may happen and how we should react on it, and then each week reassessed it. The evening before each stage, again took a look at it, again checked, have we covered all our bases? Do we know how we react in all scenarios? So actually the decisions, the tough decisions when they came were quite easy. We were prepared for them.
Iffy?
Yeah, well, we were backing you, Luke. We thought that was a spot-on decision, because it made sense. If you had waited for on Stelvio, if you had waited for Wilco, I just think the other two would have gone harder anyway, because you actually were containing them a little bit by being there and sitting on, not worrying about that other part of it. Whereas if you had dropped back, they would have buried themselves. Teo would have also buried himself with Rowan, who I still can't believe that the ride he did those 2 days. But anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. But no, I think you played it exactly right, and you had the right card, and you had the pink jersey with 15K to go, mate. So I've got to ask you one question. I can't imagine what we'd like as a youngster of 24, suddenly getting your first pink jersey. How'd you sleep that night? Did you have trouble tossing and turning, or what?
Oh, terribly. Yeah, terribly. I mean, also for me, the more tired I get in a Grand Tour, the worse I sleep, which is super annoying. But yeah, also that last week, there was some pretty short sleeps, you could say. But it was like I said, it was all just like a dream, to get a stage win, and then and then a couple of days later to go into pink before like the last day, and then just to roll into Milan on on a Sunday arvo, like dressed in pink, it was something I'll never forget. It's just like still losing sleep over it. Well, not losing, but still can't sleep.
From the pictures, it looked like you've actually got a lot of respect for obviously Teo. Tell us about the relationship you guys have got.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, he's a pretty good guy, Like I've known him for a few years now, and actually we've done a lot of racing against each other over the years, like in amateurs especially, and yeah, he also lives in Girona, and I've gone for a few rides with him and stuff, and he's a good dude, and happy to see him take the win, because I know how much it means to him also, and yeah, I mean it's disappointing, like super disappointing to be so close and not actually take it, like within inside a minute after 3 weeks of racing. That's also nuts, but
it is nuts.
That's just the beauty of bike racing, I think,
I'd like you to take us through those two stages, Stelvio and Sestriere, and you can put your 2 pence worth into Luke if you like, but just your thoughts on that day, as it panned out on the Stelvio. Yeah,
we had like a pretty ambitious plan of like blowing the race up once we got to Stelvio. Like we sort of just went in with a similar plan like we did to the Piancavallo day, where the guys we all got on the front and just like the guys rode super hard tempo and just shelled the bunch out, which we were doing on Stelvio, and then we were sort of getting towards the last few guys. I think Chris Hamo was on the front, and yeah, he was sort of just settling into his pace, and then Rowan just came past like a bloody steam train, and then it was just like jump on or get forgotten sort of thing. And it was going up Stelvio that day was like, it was just awesome, man. Like just bonkers, You're going up Stelvio, there's like snow on the side of the roads, you got the chopper flying above, there's like people all over the road, and you're also just flying up there like it was motor pacing or something. Just sat on the Ron Dennis train.
Did Wilco say anything to you, or did he just slip off back? Did he actually mention anything to you, that he was in trouble or anything?
I heard.
Yeah, Wilco called on the radio that he couldn't follow anymore. And then we had coached him then to resort to pacing. He had to pace his race then to the line. Basically, he still had a time buffer up his sleeve, but of course, from that moment, it's the risk of completely or going too deep at that high altitude. Then you won't recover at all. So he had to go back to a level that he could maintain to the line. It was enough to hold him in pink that day, but not quite enough not enough to survive a second onslaught from Rowan on Saturday. So.
I was gonna say, Luke, I know you're Aussie and proud Aussie, but is Rowan Dennis, is he dead to you now?
Yeah, you could put it like that. No, I mean it was phenomenal what Rowan did, and I think everyone could see it. It was the key to Ineos winning that race. What he's done there was unbelievable. I couldn't see. I mean, seeing the way he took off, that it was good, but I didn't expect him to keep going like that through the valley and then back it up again with such a remarkable ride on the Saturday. That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of comments coming in. We've got our regulars. Congratulations, young man. That's obviously to you, Jai, because no one's young on this panel. Jenny, well done, Jai. Karen Jones, congratulations, Jai. Wendy Superfan, hi, guys. Congrats, Jai. You took us, what a ride you took us on. Thanks for giving us heaps of excitement for 3 weeks. Jacinta says, absolute superstar. Stuart McIntosh says, great to hear more about Jai during this interview. So to that end, what interests do you have away from the bike? Any hobbies, music, or other sports that you enjoy?
Oh, that's a tough one. Yeah. No, music-wise, man, pretty much everything, eh? But especially a bit of 90s hip-hop, you know? Can't
Notorious.
Yeah. Also a
Snoop Dogg.
bit of soul and jazz, also good. Just everything. Just everything.
You pump that on the bus, Luke, in the pre-start?
Actually, our DJ was pretty quiet during this race.
Really?
We had Nico Denz, Germany, took over for some moments.
I did see a video on that. Is it Schlachter or whatever they call it? Schlager.
Yeah, it wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but Nico for sure enjoyed himself, and everyone
It's like it's a mix of like trumpets and techno, isn't it? It's real weird. Jace Cruz says, Jai, awesome ride. You're on good form. Impressed by your attitude and character. Lots of potential to keep improving. And then Alan, if he says, Stinger is a great bloke. Hang on, we've got another one which says, this is from Sheila from America. She says, Jai, what's your alternative plan, not cycling? So glad you get to do your passion as your job. Hope you with all the success. Well done. I reckon it'd be hard to think about a backup plan after you've run second at the Giro. It might be difficult.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Also, like when I was younger, there wasn't a plan B. It was just straight ahead cycling. That's it. Like in school, I just did school to do school. But at the end of the day, I was just keen to get out and ride my bike. You know.
Did you ever have one of those moments where the teacher says, what do you want to do when you grow up? And you said, I want to be a professional rider. And she like laughed at you. And then you're going to do a TED talk one day and you're going to go, yeah, I'll never forget. Grade 6. This teacher said I'd never make it. Have you got one of those stories?
I had that from year 5 to year 12.
Really? Everyone.
No. I also had some really good teachers that were like, yeah, you're wasting your time here. Like, just go for the bike.
Well, you were that bad at school, were you?
They were more like the sport teachers. But then, you have like the math teachers that were just like, mate, like, what are you doing?
Well, if your high school does that like magazine that is every 3 months, they always talk about past students. I reckon you're a good chance of getting a full page spread, mate. I reckon you're a really good chance. Warren says, Jai, do you think you could have attacked Teo earlier on the last climb of the Stelvio stage?
Yeah, that's also a pretty tough question. I don't know. He was super strong, man. I think, even if I did attack and try gain time, it also wasn't a climb to really do damage on, I know that climb pretty well, and I don't know what it would have looked like on TV, but the first half is super steep, and the last half where you're doing all the switchbacks, that's actually quite flat. So I don't know. It's hard to say. If it would have made a difference or not. I think in the end I lost by 40 seconds. I think to get 40 seconds on him that day would have been pretty hard. And like you saw on the Sestriere day, I was throwing like the kitchen sink at him and I couldn't shake him there. I think he showed he was he was one of the strongest guys in the race.
Well, there was really nothing between the two of you, actually. Over the last week of that tour, you were both the strongest. There was nothing in it, really.
Yeah, I think especially on that Sestriere day, we were both pretty even, man. I think to make like I said, to get rid of him that day would have been hard, and I tried everything. I tried attacking him full gas on all the steep sections of that climb, and I couldn't get rid of him. He was he was strong as.
Is it one of those events that you're going to look back on and know that you gave 110%, and it's a result that you can be extremely proud of, rather than looking back with any sort of regret or, you know, the what ifs?
Yeah, for sure. I think every day throughout the Giro, you know, as a team, I don't think we put a foot wrong. Like, every day we had like 110% support from the team, from all the guys, from all the staff. Like, it was pretty phenomenal. And when you got that, you know, you're always going to do what you can, do your best, you know. And yeah, everything, like the Sestriere I gave everything, the final TT I gave everything. I couldn't have done anything more. So, like I said, it's disappointing to come so close and not win it, but at the same time, you know, I was sort of just coming into this race hoping for like to scrape a top 10 or something, and I would have been pretty G'd with that. Sort of like to end up standing on like the final podium, it's like, yeah, it's just mind blowing.
Luke, you must be pretty proud of what you guys achieved that month, mate.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, before the Giro, I think we weren't mentioned in the top 6 GC competitors. And the start of this season, people were also saying we were one of the weakest teams in the World Tour. So, you know, the results we've made there at the Giro, or to look back at the Tour as well, I think we can be really proud of this team this year.
And just on that, the results that you had at the Tour, do you feel that really gave your team a lot of momentum going into the Giro with a lot of confidence?
Yeah, for sure. That would have brought them a lot of confidence. And all the riders had a very similar build-up towards the end of season program, or the restart of the season. And we invested a lot of time with what we called our Corona sessions, weekly video meetings with riders in different groups. We had a GC group, sprint group, and a classic group. And each Monday or Tuesday, they'd have an hour and a half session just talking about teamwork in bike racing. I think that's done a lot to really create this team, what it was at the second half or the restart of the season. Altitude camp together with the entire team, and you know, we reaped the benefits of it when the season kicked off again.
Well, that's actually really interesting, Jai. Do you think that helped creating that sort of network during the Corona sort of period to connect with your teammates and really build that chemistry?
Yeah, I think it was pretty important. I was also flying solo in Girona for like 2 months, so I was pretty happy to like have a yarn with the guys. But yeah, I think it was pretty important. Yeah, for sure. Like to just keep the mind thinking about bike racing and stuff, you know, and not completely switching off, I think was I think in the long term it was really good.
We've got another question from Wendy Superfan. She says, Jai, would you like to ride the Tour de France next year or try again at the Giro? That's probably a question for both of you. I mean, what's the plan now moving forward? We'll start with Luke, and then you can argue if you don't like it.
I guess we've been scrambling to try to get this season finished, as most teams have, and it's been quite stressful to get lineups organised, to look at, you know, all that extra testing to create those bubbles. Reserve riders, difficult to bring in when we've had illness or injuries. So it was quite a scramble, as I said, to get this season through. We're on the last race of the season now with the Vuelta underway. Nothing more will change with that. A lot of the coaching staff, performance staff have now ended their season. So a little bit of a breather, a couple of days. I'm actually in the office today here in the Netherlands. And the next step will be planning next season. Obviously we as a team need to look at the parcours of the Grand Tours and decide where we'll weight our ambitions in those tours. put aside GC, which one target GC, which one to target stage wins, can we mix it, and then look at how we'll create our lineups for that.
Iffy?
But going back to the question to you, Jai, what would you like, forgetting about what they say, what would you like to, do you think you'd like to have your first crack at the Tour de France?
Oh, yeah. That would be a dream come true, because that's what I wanted to do since I could watch the tour, you know. Since I'd seen the tour on TV, it was just like, yeah, man, I've got to do that. So yeah, to race the tour would be epic. But at the same time, you know, the Giro is like an awesome race. It really is. And actually, also the Vuelta. Actually, the Vuelta was my first Grand Tour, and actually really enjoyed just the racing at the Vuelta. It's really interesting, always. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I'd love to do the tour, but I'd also be happy to go back to the Giro.
We've got a comment from a mate, Matt Pointer. He says, "Well done, Jai. Boxing Day Pappas awaits."
Yeah.
Hey, we ask a lot of people on this show, and we always bring up that we're in the middle of a pandemic, and you know, a lot of people have been doing it rough. Thankfully, as if he said, Melbourne, we're coming out of lockdown. But what are some of the things, I'll start with you, Jai, that you can pass on for people? You've been on an incredible journey, but what are some of the things that you've learned that have sort of attributed to your success, particularly in periods that when it gets really tough? Like, what do you use as fuel to get you out of that?
Yeah, I think you just have to set like goals, and you know, you have to dream pretty big, I guess, and just never give up, because if you give up, then you'll never do what you want to do. And I think that's pretty key. You know, like I wouldn't say I was anything special physically, you know. I just worked like my ass off to get to where I am, and I just never gave up. And yeah, if you do that, then you can never go wrong. Doesn't, like, regardless of the result.
And what about you, Luke? You've had a lot of success, not just as a DS, but as a rider back in the day. I can remember being with Iffy at the 2005 Tour de France when you had the yellow jersey in the team that time. But yeah, what are some of the keys you've learnt?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, definitely in Jai's case, he's a guy that can, he works well in a team environment. So we have a lot of experts here that have, bring a lot of knowledge to this team and how to get the best out of a bike rider. And if a bike rider is willing to accept that input, work together well with an expert, in a way, give up that control and be relaxed about it, then they can go with a relaxed mind, confident into a bike race, and just think about pushing on the pedals. And that's a full credit to Jai, that showed how much, throughout this Giro, the energy he had in that last week there was just how he can be cool, calm, and just concentrate on the things that he needs to keep the control of. So
good stuff, mate. Iffy, before we let these guys go, what do you want to finish up with, mate?
Well, Luke was a handy bike rider. He was also Olympic gold medalist and world champion. Just to throw those things in.
They're just minor details, John. We know he's a superstar.
And he was silly enough. I'm not going to admit, he was silly enough to actually ask me to look after his wife during a Tour de France. So she travelled on the detour with me for about 2 weeks of a Tour de France. So you're not the full quid, I don't think, Luke. But anyway, she survived. She did survive.
Yeah, she said to say hello too.
Yeah. Give him my love. Yeah.
Well, your accommodation must have been too bad that 2 weeks then.
No, we
communicating with you.
Yeah. Thanks heaps for coming on, guys. It was I got to tell you, Luke, I've been blown away by Sunweb this whole year in all the Grand Tours, in all the classics. You guys have been the exciting team that's just stepped it up, taken everybody on. It's been and brought all this new young group of potential superstars into the game. So congratulations, it's been fantastic.
Thanks, John. I'm glad we could make it a good show.
Bloody oath. And obviously, Jai, you're an absolute superstar, mate. And the best is yet to come. As a number of the comments said, you took us on such a great ride over the last 3 weeks. And, everyone, particularly back here in Australia, mate, super, super proud. And, onward and upward, mate. You're a bloody absolute legend. So keep up the good work, mate.
Thanks, fellas. Yeah. Also, to all the Australian guys watching, the support's just been completely overwhelming. It feels like I've definitely had like the nation behind me, and that's super special. So to everyone that got behind me, thanks.
Good stuff. And I think Matt Pointer, he's made it. It's that simple. So there you go. Good way to finish. Hey, we really appreciate you guys coming on the detour. We'll check in again soon, and all the best with your post-season recovery, and look forward to a bigger and better 2021. Thanks for joining us, boys.
Good stuff.
Thanks, guys.
Mate.
Thanks,
Appreciate it,
guys. See you guys.
Fellas. Go enjoy.
How good's that? Absolute superstars of the sport, Iffy. I think one of the big takeaways with what Luke Roberts was saying is how meticulous they are with their preparation. Like having weeks out, like all these different scenarios drawn up, and so that when there is something that they need to make a call on in the race, it's already been talked about, it's already been decided, and they can go to the next plan. I think that's really impressive in terms of prep. If I was a DS, I'd be like, got a bit of an idea. Watch those movie star guys. But, just go out and race, boys. That's why I'm not a DS. So anyway, what were your takeaways from the chat?
Oh, look, just look. I've met Jai a few times, but he just glows of this real natural Aussie youngster, doesn't he? He's just a lovely young man, and look. He was never overawed by it, So right as soon as he started being contention, you could tell he worked it all out. He took it one day at a time. He really knew what he was doing. And then talking with Luke. Well, look, I've known Luke for a long time. From I raced against his dad, and Luke's always been the ultra professional. And from his first days as a DS, he'd been very successful because he does all that planning, and he doesn't get surprised very much. And he's cool under pressure, which is very important in that role. So, no, it was a wonderful chat with those guys. Yep.
All right, mate, it's come to that time of the show where you open up the shoulders, go to your script, and give us a plug for Mitchelton Wines.
Yes, the wonderful Mitchelton Hotel, one of Australia's favourite wineries and a place of escape. Experience the history, the beauty, and the serenity of the Goulburn Valley at your own pace. Look over the vineyards, and I think there's about 500 acres of vineyards there. From the iconic tower, staying at the new hotel, relaxing by the pool, recharging in the day spa, exploring the seasonal menu at the Muse, wonderful restaurant, stopping by the Providore, touring their wonderful salads, and, of course, tasting their signature wines. It's become a very popular venue for weddings and major functions. Absolutely sensational, actually. And there's a couple of there's a happy couple there and a happy couple about there too, I reckon. Yep. And downstairs to the Aboriginal Art Gallery, which is world class. And in there you've got the most amazing paintings. But there, a $10,000 Land Cruiser with a $950,000 painting.
$950. Wow. They're about to drop the hammer. It's going to crack a mill, I reckon, tomorrow.
Could do. Yep. Yeah, good. Yep. But and I'll be up there on the weekend. We've got my son's 40th birthday at the Mitchelton restaurant. So I will take some happy snaps and we'll put them on the show on Sunday night. How's that?
Perfect. All right. Now it's time for a quick word from our great mates at Bike Exchange.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike. 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Now, John, I know that you've got early stages of dementia, so just register that we've played the ad. I don't want to repeat it last night. What are you asking at the end of the show? Did we play that ad?
I've got a bit of flack from that one, I can tell you, especially from a couple of my mates who believe I have got dementia, so it's all good.
Comment Lionel Marie. Lionel, he says, I agree, the wine is good. And Sam says, Jai oozes pure champion. He's the whole package. Totally agree. And Warren says, thanks, guys. Amazing guests as usual. We did mention at the top of the show, we're a bit worried that we're going to fire off too many of our bullets and be left with some average guests at the end of the week. But that's not possible on the detour, is it, Johnny?
Well,
we'll always find a story.
We'll always have you and I to talk over the topic, Stan. You know, no doubt about that.
Now, last night, Sam Bewley, he tipped the longest shot winner on this show. He said Woods is a good bet. And I know Kirsty Baxter, she jumped on at odds of $21. And, she's going to have a very good Christmas.
Yes.
Now, looking at the Vuelta for stage number 8, looking at the profile, John, there's a Cat 2 there. But they finish on a Cat 1, which for the Vuelta, that's the equivalent of a HC, isn't it?
It is, and it's a really hard,
filthy.
Steep climb. It's filthy, yes, it is. And I think it's got Primoz Roglic written all over it.
Yeah. And going off what George Bennett said yesterday, he lost time because of that jacket, not because of his legs. And George Bennett had a good ride yesterday. I think we relaxed him so much on the detour that he just cleared his head and he could go out there and just ride.
He was a wonderful guest yesterday, and then he did a brilliant stage because they were in the little group. He was in the break, and then they just split on that climb, and he was in the little group only 20 seconds back. So it was a brilliant ride.
Now, Wendy Superfan's got a good suggestion. Get Adam Hansen on. I think we need to try and line him up for a chat because Is he finished? Is he retired, or is he waiting for another contract? Or is he going to go into triathlon, isn't he?
He's going to go to not just triathlon, mate. He's going to go the big dog, the big kahuna.
Hawaiian
Ironman.
Ironman. Yeah. Okay. Yep. He'd be a super interesting guy because we can ask him about a number of different things off the bike. As Scotty's mentioned, he makes his own shoes, and I think he's up at night. I heard at Grand Tours he used to be up at night on his laptops and he'd be trading stocks, and he was probably one of those guys that got into Bitcoin in the early days. He's that smart. So,
but he's written the programs that a lot of the teams are now using in running their teams. I mean, he's very, very switched on. I was going to say young man. Well, he's not so young, but compared to me, he's very young. But and a great career. And look, I remember how he started because he wasn't even a racing cyclist. He raced mountain bikes a bit, but he was more an adventurer on the mountain bikes. He did the Crocodile Trophy, that crazy race used to go right across Australia and up in Queensland. And then it was a doctor involved with the T-Mobile team. That met him. They were just training up in the hinterland, up in back of Cairns or somewhere, and they just got friendly. And so he started helping him and getting his data and telling him what. And he kept reading it and said, "We need to talk with this guy." And from that, he ended up coming over and joining the T-Mobile team.
Yeah, right.
It's amazing, amazing story.
And How many Grand Tours did he do in a row? It was like 20 or something, wasn't it?
I think it was 16 in a row or something like that. I could Google it and tell you in a minute. But it was like it's the record anyway, and it'll never be beaten.
No.
No.
No, never rode one, but it used to just cook me on the sidelines. So if you had to do the K, another thing. All right. Well, so we're all chips in on Primoz tonight. I think that's a good bet. I think he's the man to beat. So yeah, wait and see. And then tomorrow's show, we're going to record at a different time. Probably be pre-recorded during the midday. So we'll unpack what happened on the Vuelta, and then we'll try and get some big name guests. Zach Dempster's definitely lined up.
So we're doing that because you're getting out in the piss tomorrow. Is that right?
I cannot confirm or deny that, John. All I can say is that we'll record prior to 7:30.
Stuck into me when I had to go early, so that's fine. That's okay.
Well,
okay.
Well, hey, mate, it's teamwork, mate. You got to work in together. It's not all about you. It's not all about me. It's about working as a team. Okay, we are the Detour. All right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. It'll be a pre-record. So stay tuned to our socials. Oh, and before you go, if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Turn on your notifications. Subscribe on iTunes. Tell all your mates. Spread the word. We really appreciate it. And, we'll be back again tomorrow to unpack another, hopefully, epic stage of the Vuelta. See you then.
This is the winning ride of the Tour de France.